He turned around and he got in the line of fire, taking all the Japanese fire while the other Higgins boats picked up the Marines. And he saved over 500 Marines and he lost his life. And his last words were, "Did we get my boys off?" And the Marines that he saved were John Basilone, who went on to get the Medal of Honor, Chesty Puller, who went on to get the Medal of Honor, Mitchell Page, who went on to get the Medal of Honor, and Mitchell Page is who the G.I. Joe is modeled after, by the way, in case you didn't know that. So every branch has dedicated and served and sacrificed, and so I just want to say that, and that's why Wine Country Marines, we have Marines in our name, but we do support all 5 branches equally. We don't care what you did in the military. One of the most badly injured folks we helped was an HR person. He was a human resources person in the Air Force, and his eyelids were melted closed. His arm, he lost one arm, he lost both legs, and he was driving from one base to another delivering personnel files. So everybody signs the same contract. So who are Wine Country Marines? The biggest question we get and the biggest, miscommunication we get is people think we're in the wine business, and we're not. We were founded by a World War II Marine who fought in Iwo Jima named Bruno Benziger. And Bruno is in the wine business, and he settled in Sonoma. And his family owned Benziger Winery in Glen Ellen. And if you go there today, there's a memorial to Marines, and they fly the Marine Corps flag to this day. Bruno's not with us anymore, but his kids and grandkids still run it today. They donate a lot of the wine to some of our events, and so that's where we get the name Wine Country Marines from, because he retired to Wine Country, and he was our founder. Probably about 15 years ago or so, we shifted from a memorial type group to a nonprofit, and we are a California 501c3 nonprofit. We do not draw salaries. There are 20 board members on Wine Country Marines. Our highest ranking is our chairman of the board. He's the #1. I'm the #2. I'm the president. Our chairman is a 3-star general who retired last year after 39 years in the Marine Corps. And his last duty was, he had 2 commands. He was in charge of Marine Forces Reserve and Marine Forces North. So he was in command of about 108,000 Marines. So he's our chairman of the board. Our lowest ranking person was a corporal in Motor T. So he fixed Humvees for a living. That's Andy Lopez. And so we are enlisted, we're officers, we're high ranking, we're low ranking. We also have an Air Force veteran on our board, which is Jim Herson over there. And Jim, by the way, donated the wine. Jim owns Valiant Winery, and that's and his wife Vaughn is over there in the blue. So every January, when we have our first board meeting of the year, the Wine Country Marines board members, and there's 20 of us, we actually write a check. And we write a check to be on the board. So not only do we draw no salaries, but we write a check. And so that gives us the ability to say that these donations we receive will all go to the cause. And it's the cause that you specify. So this event is to support our PTSD program. That means we won't use it to give toys to a kid somewhere. We won't use it to help somebody move or help somebody have a flight during a funeral. We will use it for this program. I don't have a speech. I believe in speaking from the heart. These are just a couple of names I don't want to forget. So what the PTSD program is, and we work with a lot of different programs, we're gap fillers. So we look for what the VA can do, for what the military can do. We look for all those gaps in between that nobody does, and that's what we do. We find those and we fill them. One of the ones we fill is first responder training for dealing with a veteran in crisis. And we first came up with this idea in 2012. There was a veteran I was working with named Abel Gutierrez, and Army veteran, really bad PTSD. He scared the daylights out of me, and I've been through PTSD myself, a lot of my friends have, and I was trying to get him into the VA. The VA does not have the legal authority to go get you and bring you in. The police can do that. It's called a 5150, and we were begging the police to do this. There's 3 requirements to be 5150. You have to meet one of the 3. You can't care for yourself, so you're living on the street, you're not feeding yourself, not cleaning yourself. You're doing that, the police can take you in for medical evaluation for a 72-hour psychological hold. You're a danger to others, or you're a danger to yourself. Those are the 3 criteria. I talked to Martha, which is Abel's mother, and I said, "Martha, please help me get him into the VA. I don't want to see you in the news." And she's like, "He just needs space. He just needs space." A week later, he murdered his 11-year-old sister, murdered his mother, and then he killed himself. And I was so frustrated because I'd been asking the police to 5150 him, and they said give him space. And he had all the signs. So fast forward to another year or so later, there's a young Marine named, and this is why I wrote names down, I just want to make sure I don't forget few important people. But Farrell Gilliam, young Marine, served, 19 years old, he served in the Battle of Fallujah, and he was badly injured, and he ended up committing suicide on Christmas Eve. His mother was sick, she was in the hospital, his sister had to go donate a kidney to his mother, he was alone in the hospital. He went out in the car, got a shotgun, brought it in, and killed himself in the hospital. That kind of stuff happens. We had 7 of those cases happen like that. And every time it happened, I would go to the VA, to the psych experts, I would go to the police department and say, can we please do this training? Can we please do it? The second to last one that finally broke the straw, I got a call from San Jose SWAT, from Matt Walsh. He's an officer of San Jose SWAT, a Marine veteran. And Matt says, James, I got a 27-year-old Marine barricaded in his apartment. He's armed. Can you come help us talk him down? We don't want to hurt him. And I said, I'm getting dressed. It was, 11 o'clock at night, I think, Carolina? I start getting dressed. I'm walking out into my driveway, and Matt calls me back. And Matt says, you can stand down. He just killed himself. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then Matt tells me that they found a suicide note. And on the suicide note, he had shared that his father had sexually abused him his entire life. When he was 17, he joined the Marines so that he wouldn't be a victim again. And he served 4 years in the Marine Corps, got out, he feels confident, he's a man now, he goes home, and his father tries to abuse him again. So he hits his father, he's tough now, he's a Marine veteran, so he hits his father, the father calls the police, police show up, young man barricades himself in his apartment, police show up and he kills himself. That's kind of what happened there. When that happened, I went to the VA and I said, can we please get this training? How many more is this going to happen? It only took one more. And it was March of last year, and we had a young veteran, Army veteran, by the name of Albert Wong, and he goes into the Yountville Veterans Home, and he went in there to the Pathway program, which is a PTSD counseling program, and the CHP sat outside while he was in a standoff for 8 hours. They never went in, they never got on the phone with him, they never communicated with him in any way, shape, or form. He ended up killing 3 friends of mine. I'm going to give you their names: Jennifer Gonzalez, Jennifer Golick, and Christine Lober. When they were killed, Christine, by the way, was the director of Pathways program, which does not exist anymore. And that was considered one of the nation's best PTSD treatment programs. But he killed the 3 top people. Now, Jennifer Gonzalez was 9 months pregnant, and it was 1 day before her 1-year wedding anniversary. He killed all 3 of them and then himself. CHP patted himself on the back and he walked out and said, we did the best we could. When I went to the VA, I said, can we please do the training now? They said, yeah, let's do it. And so what the training is, and the first one we did was in September of last year, just a few months after this happened. And what the training is we have people from behavioral health, which is mental health, because sometimes it's PTSD, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's something else, sometimes it's dementia, sometimes it's bipolar. There's lots of different things that can make a person do the things they do. But we have them, we have social workers, we have all the experts in, we have a judge. One of my board members is a Superior Court judge. His name is Pete Manukian. His wife is an appellate court judge in California, and they are Gold Star parents. Their son Matt was killed in Afghanistan and awarded the Navy Cross posthumously, which is the nation's second highest award. So Pete is part of the Veterans program, the Veterans Court program. So he was part of the training. And we had Mountain View Police, East Palo Alto Police, Santa Clara County, CHP, San Jose SWAT, Mountain View SWAT. So these, and San Mateo Sheriff. So those departments came to the first training, and it was an all-day class, and we taught them how to recognize the signs of PTSD. We taught them how to understand the different psychiatric makeup of a veteran versus a non-veteran in a standoff situation. A non-veteran, for example, doesn't want to go back to jail. They don't want to be arrested. They don't want to face the bills. They don't want to face the nagging wife, or whatever their issue is. They don't want to face it. In a veteran's case, if it's PTSD, more often than not, they're in a defensive posture. They don't want you to come in because they're trying to protect whatever it is that they're envisioning is behind them. You know, they may be thinking they're protecting their family instead of putting their family in harm. So we taught them to understand the different mindset. And with that, we also gave them the tools. We gave them phone numbers where if you've got a veteran, instead of going in there and thinking that this is Rambo, because that's what a lot of these cops do. They hear about a war veteran, in their mind, they think about a special forces sniper who's heavily armed, when in fact, it just might be a guy who's scared. Good example is San Francisco PD last year fired 250 shots at a guy in an RV and they missed him every time because they were so frightened. And or in Salt Lake City a couple of years ago, they went into the basement to arrest a veteran. They fired, I think, 75 shots, hit him once in the elbow. Because that adrenaline and that fear, they're going in there thinking the worst. So we want to give them the tools, and one of the tools we give them is direct lines and direct communication within the VA. And a perfect example, I'll give you some that worked out real well. So the deputy police chief of East Palo Alto Police called me one day. His name's Jeff Liu. And he's like, okay, we went through the training, we got a veteran, he's barricaded in his house in Menlo Park. We have his name, but we don't know anything about him. And he won't answer the phone, he won't answer the door. And I said, okay, give me his name. So we got his name, we ran him through the VA database, we found out what treatment programs he was in, and we found out who his best friends were. We got them to call him on the cell phone, he answered for them, they talked him out and came out peacefully. Another one in San Jose, we had San Jose SWAT call us after the training, and they were able to use the tools and the phone numbers that they had and use the training they had. And they had an Air Force veteran who was barricaded in his house with his wife and a young baby. And he had called his family back east and said, this is the last time we're going to talk. Life's over. I'm ending it tonight. They were able to get the information on him, get his background, get tools to communicate with him, and they were able to talk him down. And it worked out really well because not only did we save his life and his family's life, but we saved his career because it turns out that his current job, he's an active duty Secret Service agent. That's what he's doing now as a veteran. And he was having this sort of a breakdown. And sometimes we go in. I had one, you were with me 3 weeks ago, I think? I had one 3 weeks ago in Santa Clara, and I get a call about a veteran talking suicide and threatening him down, and San Jose PD actually stayed down the street while they allowed me to go in and talk to him. And I spent 3.5 hours with him, and we walked him out peacefully in handcuffs. And he had 5 loaded guns with him. He was threatening to end his life. And he's still in the hospital. We got him in, the 5150 to him, and he's getting treatment. And those are lives saved. And that's what our program does, is we've given the police the tools, we've given them the network, they know who to call now at the VA and with me, and they know who to call to help them talk these situations down to where we can end it peacefully. Sadly, we're still going to lose lives, but some of the things we've learned from this is women veterans who commit suicide, 92% of them have never engaged with the VA or any treatment program. And so we know that engagement saves lives. So that means only 8% have committed suicide or engaged. With male veterans, it's in the 50% range. I believe it's like 52 or 54%. So engagement with other veterans, engagement with the VA, that saves lives, and this sort of training saves lives. Since we've been doing these training programs just the last few months, the VA has now worked with us to take this program. It's now a nationwide training program, and it is converted from training officers to training trainers. So we now will take police officers from each department, and we can train them to now go back and train their own officers. And it's become a certification program. And our costs are not real high. Our costs are basically venue rentals, the food, the refreshments, things like that for the day. But so far we've got the VA actually donating their manpower, and we've got the police departments donating their manpower because they need this training so badly. And the next one we're doing a 2-day one in January on the 27th and 28th. And it's going to be on the East Bay, probably at Coast Guard Island. The Coast Guard base has offered to host it for us. And we're going to be inviting all the East Bay police departments to come in for the training. And we've already gotten calls from Seattle. The chief of police in Seattle wants us to train her department up there. But that's the training program in a nutshell. I'm happy to take questions, or I know you've got other things on your agenda, but that's it in a nutshell, and that's us in a nutshell. Okay, thank you.